All right, Michael Garrett, CEO of MyMotion. Thanks so much for joining me today, man.
Yeah, welcome. Really happy to be here. Thanks, Michael.
Sure. So, want to hop right into it, Michael. Can you speak a little bit to the genesis of MyMotion and what sparked the original idea for it?
Yeah, this project started many years ago, at least 22 years ago. I'm a physiotherapist that graduated in the UK, England, and very quickly found myself working with elite athletes. I was an elite athlete myself prior to becoming a physiotherapist, and that was motivation for me to get involved in, say, sports medicine. But very quickly, I was on the PGA Tour in the US, helping professional golfers perform to their highest level. But so I had to understand body mechanics. I went back to the UK to do a master's in sports medicine, and this was to look at why professional golfers hurt their low backs. And the technology 20 odd years ago to get the data that I needed was in excess of £500,000. Now, what I didn't realize at the time of doing this research is that there was always a commercial product there, and a whole treatment methodology stemmed out of that. And at one time, I thought we were going to be a hardware and a software company, but as technology continued to develop, the price of getting this data now I can get for pennies. And MyMotion grew legs properly and became a business, say, two years ago, where we partnered with a tech company in London, because what we're picking up is data on how people move, how pain influences how they move. We analyze this data and we bounce it off certain algorithms, and this way we're able to allocate targeted exercises to people in order to help them move better. So we can help athletes be the best they can be. We can help athletes prevent injuries for the future. We can help people with pain move better and get rid of pain. We can identify people at fall risk and prevent falls. So there's many verticals available to our services. If you live in a human body and you want to move better, then MyMotion has a great solution for you.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. So immediately what comes to mind when you mention the PGA is obviously Tiger Woods and all the back problems that he's suffered over the course of his career. So are you saying, hypothetically, if MyMotion existed maybe 20 years before, Tiger would have been able to alleviate some of the back problems that he's had, just because you guys are tracking the way golfers are swinging the club with everything in terms of how they address the ball, the take back, their attack angle and everything like that, and you can recommend different ways to move to alleviate some of those long-term issues and injuries that come with swinging the body around like that?
Yeah, so very early on in my career, I mean, of course, I was motivated because I was an elite middle distance runner in my early 20s that came to an end through injury. And I guess the main passion underneath all of this is that, it took me a long while to realize it, I wish I met someone like me back then, because the injury that I went through, I always thought if I trained harder and trained more, then I would get better. But if there's faulty biomechanics, then it's only time until something in your body gets hurt. That's what happened to me. It's what motivates me today. And throughout my career is that if we can optimize how people move, of course they're moving better, but the stresses that are distributed through the body are lessened. These weak links, like the low back, as you mentioned in Tiger's case, for example, this is simply stress that's coming out from inefficiencies in movement. It's not able to distribute forces efficiently. So yeah, all of this started, how do we help athletes move better? But then there's the link between how pain affects how we move. And there's very few people that go through life without experiencing pain. And you know that you compensate in some way. You start moving differently. This is really valuable information to us at MyMotion. We understand how to interpret that data. We don't just simply give a report on the data. Through its analysis, we're able to understand how best we can help people through targeted exercises.
Absolutely, and I think you hit a point right on the head earlier about overcompensating when having to deal with pain, especially when it comes to joints, hips, and everything in between, especially with people who are exercising excessively, such as high-level athletes. They overcompensate, which leads to more chronic issues down the road. So I'm glad that technology is moving in a way that we can prevent some of these injuries for high-level athletes that may be overcompensating and creating further issues for themselves, especially with the high-level athletics that we're seeing today across all professional athletes. And does MyMotion provide recommendations as well on the medical side, or do they take that data and give it to, say, a therapist or a physical therapist or what have you, and they go and implement the treatment? Or does MyMotion play any part in the treatment at all?
Yeah, so it's a great question because there's a lot of health tech out there. I mean, I'm wearing a watch that will tell my heart rate during the day. It will tell me how I slept. It will give me a score. It will tell me how fast I'm running. It's all information, right? But so what if I got a score out of 70 for my sleep last night? It's not telling me how I'm going to improve my sleep. And we have a long-term goal here, being a direct-to-consumer business. Right now, we're B2B, so we put this technology in the hands of coaches and physiotherapists, physicians, nurses. The neat thing about our algorithms is that we already are utilizing the data to provide the very best exercises to that person at that point in time. So we're not changing any element of how a personal trainer, a coach, a physiotherapist would do their job. They simply do a motion screen on an app on their phone, and we do have a wearable sensor. And then through this process, we're able to deliver the very best exercises to their clients.
So is it more of a preventative, or do you only bring MyMotion in once someone has sustained some sort of injury?
So our movement is actually changing daily. So say, for example, you went on a plane ride. Just the effects of traveling affects our motion. Our balance is constantly changing. When one of the things that was never mentioned in and around the COVID time is that our balance was an indication of whether we had got COVID, for example. So lots of things are changing our movement on a daily basis, and that's why we recommend that the process is a movement screen that's done pretty much once a week, and that motion screen then allocates the exercises that are delivered to that individual. This is an ongoing process, so we recommend that the screen is done on a weekly basis, and we basically take people on a journey to help them their bodies move better. Now, yes, we are helping athletes, and we would prefer to meet athletes in a non-injured state because that way we can prevent injury. But of course, if we are meeting them in an injured state, we know what characteristics we need to be working on or what we're looking for in the data, and how we deliver the exercises to help those people most of all. So it is both ends. Ideally, it's a preventative, but it someone actually be injured as well. And this goes across the lifespan as well. It's not just for athletes. Imagine the older population that are at risk of falling. We're able to identify balance characteristics of people that are at full risk. therefore we're preventing falls, which that's a massive problem. So we have a lot of verticals available to us in the overall marketplace, and we are actually working in all of them. I guess my just through my experience, our initial customers are really in the sports realm.
Definitely. And I'm thinking to myself now, I mean, my mother has had lower back surgery as well as a double hip replacement. This is something that would hugely benefit her. Even my grandmother, who's had a double hip replacement as well. I mean, this can be used for by anybody, correct? I mean, it doesn't need to be high level athletes. Obviously, there's much more of a demand there, much more susceptible to chronic injuries and whatnot. But, you know, for example, the people who are trying to do recovery in their 50s and 60s, have had major surgery, or are looking to yoga and Pilates, which may not be doing enough, MyMotion may be able to come in and be a total game changer for them now.
No, absolutely. What's amazing here is that in the medical industry, people are quite prepared to go through an MRI machine. And of course, when you go looking at a joint, you're going to find it. It doesn't mean that that is the issue. I don't understand why motion isn't assessed in a medical context, and there is the opportunity right there, because there's so much information in motion, and if we can understand how people move and we know the roadmap on how to make them move better, then what these diagnoses are usually in Latin phrases that people would go searching on Dr. Google, for example. That's not necessarily the reason why they're experiencing pain. You got to look at the body as being like a Jenga puzzle, right? And imagine some of those blocks missing. We look at the human body in just the same way. We're looking for the foundations of the body. Are they solid? Are they able to fight the fight against gravity? But we're able to identify where those missing blocks are in the supportive structure. And through targeted exercises, we simply put those blocks back to get a structure that's stable. And then guess what? The body starts moving better and pain decreases. So we're super excited to offer a service that is not approach. It's really about understanding people's movement and be able to give people a solution in their own home.
Absolutely. No, that's just revolutionary. And I'm thrilled that you guys have made so much progress. One more question for you, Michael, about your guys' internal processes. Does the app then, once you wear MyMotion and it tracks your movements, how does it generate a report, or what do those reports look like specifically? Do those get sent directly to the physical therapist or the sports medicine professionals, or what happens next?
Yeah, I think when you look at all the wearable health technology that's out there at this moment in time, we don't want to fall down the trap of just giving data, because what use is it unless you're able to interpret that? So unless you're a physiologist or someone who understands biomechanics, what use is this data? We can give a score on somebody's balance, and we can give range of motion of certain joints, but we're more into providing the solution. So in our processes, we have a thing called a movement screen involving 11 movements of your body. Once we looked at that data, analyze it against our algorithms, then we do the donkey work. It's not for the analysis. We can say, hey, look, you're at full risk. So we're not so much about presenting reports, and also this is all fully automated. So we have machine learning and AI in there that's delivering the very best exercises to that person at that moment in time.
That's absolutely fantastic. So, and I love the progression of targeting athletes, but then having the understanding that, hey, Mom and dad can use this who are in their 50s and 60s, and even grandma and grandpa who are at fall risk. I mean, we were just dealing with that in my family a couple months ago. And, you know, it happens all the time. And if we can catch a little bit before, it could make a huge difference in the outcome of life, especially for people of all ages now, and not just the high level athletes. So I'm thrilled to hear that you're touching on all those age groups, and it's completely widened your demographic and target market, because everyone can benefit from this, it seems like.
No, absolutely. I mean, the first half of my career, I've been a physio for 28 years. But the first half was focused on working with professional athletes, Olympic athletes, teams and individuals. And I didn't work with people with chronic pain just because I didn't feel that I had the skill set at that time. When I did start working with people with pain, or people at full risk, people that have had joint replacement, etc., I basically took the same mindset of working with athletes, but just delivering it at a level that they were capable of. Because at the end of the day, we all live in human bodies, and we're all designed to move. We all have to fight the fight with gravity. And so it's actually the very same principles as to find performance in an athlete as it is to anybody else throughout the lifespan.
Yeah, I may need to explore MyMotion myself. I'm 29. I played a brief stint of college tennis, and I've got terrible hips, terrible lower back. I can't even touch my toes. So bring to light something that I'm not paying enough attention to could be a game changer for me even as well.
Right now, we're putting the technology into coaches' hands, physiotherapists' hands, physicians, but we are able to do a motion screen just like we're doing right now over a Zoom call. It's really easy. So provided we can see you in a standing position through the camera, then we can do our analysis just in that way too.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic, and accessible for all to add. So, so Michael, congratulations on your success and your progress. That sounds, like I said, just revolutionary for, you know, the physical world and injury prevention, which is obviously a huge topic as people start to get in their late 20s even these days. So I'm thrilled to hear that you guys have made so much progress and are headed in a great direction here. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up at all?
Thank you so much for your time, Michael. Really enjoyed explaining what MyMotion is about. And when you're ready for a screen, just let me know.
I certainly will. You may be careful. You may be hearing from me sooner than you think.
That's all right. It's okay. Cheers, Michael.
Great. Thanks so much, Michael. Very insightful. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.